You're listening to Hey Pal, What's New with John, Alex, and Greg. Hey Pal, What's New is a product of Sack of Sin Entertainment. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all other social media platforms. Hey Pal, What's New can be found on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and all other podcast locations. Or check us out at sackofsin.com or heypalwhatsnew.com. Warning, Hey Pal, What's New contains explicit content. John, Alex, and Greg are a pair of vulgar Gen Xers. If you are easily offended, please stop listening and go download a nice tame podcast like the Goop Podcast. You have been warned. Oh, producer Mila is off the button.
Oh, you're fired already.
You were a little slow. That's okay.
That's all right. We are too. Hey, everybody. It's Hey Pal, What's New? I'm Greg, and that's John Alex over there. And we're in the GBR studios. We got producer Mila on the ones and twos, kicking it,
That's
rocking
right.
it.
Producer Moo.
Producer Moo in the house. Yeah, we're back. I always feel like we're saying that every time.
Now, if you're watching this, it's pre-recorded.
That's right. We're in the multiverse now. This is our version of Greg and John Alex. So
This is Greg fighting a giant spider.
that's right.
We'll get more to that later when we talk Flash.
Oh boy, will we? Yes, we got.
I was going to do a bad Nicolas Cage impersonation and be like, "Oh, I'm fighting a spider."
I don't know how to do Nicolas Cage. It's
No way.
no, I can't do it. I'll just do a voice like this.
Nick's making a comeback,
He
which
is.
is why we're not going to do news, because by the time this airs, everybody's going to be like, "Oh, that was like a week ago. What the fuck?"
Dude, that's so like 2004.
They found those people in the fucking submarine already.
They did.
I don't know. There's my news. Is the fucking people in the submarine who are missing.
Rich people doing rich people shit.
That's right. Not me.
Nope. I can't afford to sit coach. I can't sit in a little tube to look at the
Was it
Titanic.
bullshit walks, money runs the marathon.
That's right. That's right. Money talks. Bullshit runs the
Dude,
marathon.
that we were talking about this earlier. That is like some guys like, I'm gonna build a submarine in my backyard. That's what that fucking thing is. Some guys just like, I want to make a submarine and go see the Titanic.
And billionaires are like, yeah, all right, put me in this thing. I'm worth so much money.
Yeah, strap Jeff Bezos to a rocket and send it. If Jeff Bezos was watching that, going like, if these people live, man, I'm going down next.
Absolutely.
I want to see the Titanic. I've seen the space. I've been in space. Now I want to be below the ocean.
There's no way I would get in a tube like that unless James Cameron was involved. The man knows everything.
That is absolutely correct.
That's right. Fuck Jeff Bezos. I'm freaking Jimmy Cameron. You
Oh.
know, he knows all about the water.
You got to
people.
sign. You got to sign a waiver when you go on that thing. Basically saying, I understand that this is like a project that's a hobby project submarine some guy built, and there's a chance I could die in it because there's really no safety measures, and I accept that.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. I mean, thoughts and prayers for everybody in that little wiener box. But
By the time you're all listening to this, they've probably either found some bodies or are still looking.
place your bets, everybody.
But I guarantee nobody's coming up alive out of that.
What's the over/under? Do you know?
No. But like Mila was saying before, I'll just wait till the movie.
Yeah. Seriously. A Netflix original.
Well, watch it on Max first, and then watch it on Netflix when they do their version of it.
The second disaster of the Titanic. Rich people doing rich people shit.
That's why you'll never see me in it.
That's right. I said that to my mother and my kids before. If I'm worth it, shit. I don't do stuff like that unless I. What happened to my? There we go. I was on a rant here, sir. No, I was. I don't
There we go.
do things like that. I'm poor, but I don't do things like that unless I have to. It's like when I went to Vegas with my ex-wife at the time, and she was like, "Oh, there's a helicopter. We can take a helicopter ride around Vegas." I'm like, "I'm good." I don't want to get on. You know when I'm gonna get on a helicopter? When fucking I'm in Vietnam and somebody's trying to pull me out of a rice paddy. That's when I'm getting on a freaking
So
copter.
never?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like when we were kids and you'd be like doing that cartoon level engineering. We're like, let's strap together these logs and make a raft and go out on the lake. And you do it and then you push it out and you get on it, it just fucking sinks.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was once for like Boy Scouts or something like that. We went to Danbury Airport and we got on one of those freaking prop planes.
Oh, no,
and
thanks.
we're flying around. Now, meanwhile, I'm like, what? Not even a teenager. You know, the door's right there. I could just be like, hey, kids. But it was cool, I guess, for a kid. But like, I'm not getting in anything unless I have to, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not taking a joyride on a plane. Like, it was funny because they were talking about the submarine stuff, and then I was watching like the local news, and then the next thing was like the Blue Angels. I was like, yeah, I'll never do that shit either.
God put me on the earth, not in the ocean, not in the sky, on the ground.
And you know
that's where I'm staying.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? The Blue Angels is from the Navy. I'm like, do I trust the sea people with a plane? I don't know.
The Air Force the Air Force are like the taxi drivers of the military.
Look, Tom Cruise.
Sorry, all you Air Force people out there, but it's
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, Tom Cruise has got that covered, so he can do all the stupid shit he wants and we're all safe. But yeah, we're here. We're back. We took a week off, family stuff. It happens. What is new with you this week? Do we want to get into that stuff?
There's not much new. School's over.
Yay, no more pencils.
By the time
no
everybody's
more
hearing
books.
this, it's summer break. I'm on my way to, probably when you're hearing this, I'm on my way to Myrtle Beach, or I'm already in Myrtle Beach visiting my mother.
Ah, God bless. God bless.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I can't wait to get me some fucking Krispy Kremes.
Ooh.
Hot out of the fucking fryer.
You gonna get me something from the Trump Superstore?
Yeah, so nice. Oh, God, that's right. There's the Trump Superstore down there. So nice that, like, you put them in your mouth and they just dissolve. Trump does dissolve in your mouth.
He does, whatever.
That's the orange cream donut.
The greatest donut in the world.
It's orange. It's orange frosted.
It tastes like a creamsicle.
We really got to get you a mic.
I know. She's fucking...
It sucks because I always got to edit this out, like when your kids come in, because you can't hear them in the background.
You can hear them a little bit, but...
Not enough to make it worth it. Sorry, Moo.
No. You know what we'll get one of those, like, room mics. You ever see those?
Yeah, but then we get an echo. Well, anyway, getting too fucking technical here.
Seriously. So, yeah, I mean, my week is just, being Violet's personal Lyft driver for the rest of the week. I keep teasing her. I'm like, I should sign up for Lyft and just start charging you, but then I'd be charging myself. So it doesn't make any sense because she takes my money. So it's all good. Yeah, just keep busy. Still looking for a job. So I'm out there. Got a lot of options. There's some options out there. Riding the government teat for a while. That's okay. That's all right. Anyway, that's the worst Trump impression ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not even gonna you're getting a special edition.
We're just gonna jump right into movies.
That's right. We don't have fuck all for news, so we're not playing that music. We don't even want to talk about trailers. We just want to talk about the stuff that we saw already.
Yes.
Which we've seen. It's been about 2 weeks.
I've seen a lot of shit. I'm just gonna hit the highlight ones.
Yeah. We don't have to go into hey, so the third episode.
You want to start with Flash?
Zing, zing, zing.
Or as I say it.
Tell me where in the world is Ezra Miller? Pineapple.
That's right. No pineapple in the Ezra Miller Flash movie. Also, no Grant Gustin.
No.
So can we just touch on that? Because I honestly don't know if you watched the Arrowverse shows on the WB or CW or whatever the fuck it's on.
I dabbled in them. I never I mean, the Flash had 9 seasons or something.
Yeah, but did you see the episode where Ezra Miller was on the DC one? That was supposed to be taking place during this movie. So there was all this speculation that you would see that scene in the Flash movie because you would see what led up to it, that scene, and then what happens after with Ezra Miller from that perspective. Whereas in the show, we got the Grant Gustin, the Arrowverse Flash's view of what happened, and they never put it in.
Yeah.
And it would have been so easy to put that in.
Well, I mean, this we're going to get into Flash, and we're going to spoil the bejesus out of it. We're not even going to do the spoiler stuff at this point. You guys have probably seen it. But me and my boy had seen it on separate occasions. Once again, we did not date, but we...
no buttered popcorn from my bucket for you.
That's right. We're gonna have some Tuesday night regal attempts.
Yeah, we've said we're gonna start seeing our movies on Tuesday night because that's the $6.50 bargain night at Regal Cinemas.
That's right. Do I get the senior citizens discount for that too?
No, there's no senior citizen discount.
Son of a nutcracker.
That's gonna be funny because we'll pay $6.50 for the ticket and then like $30 for food.
Oh, I don't buy food at the theater. Well, if my kids work in concession, I can bring the bucket from home that already has the X on the bottom.
Yeah.
She'll be like, "Can I get a refill?" And she'll pretend like, "Oh yeah, I looked." And you'd do that for me, right?
Yeah, I would just go right back over it.
See?
We had a friend that used to work the movie theater at the JV Mall.
Yes.
When they had the theater there, and he would just give us a cardboard box
Filled with popcorn.
And then at the end, somebody always wore it because we're just like, Yahoo! And then ran out like a bunch of freaking delinquents.
The people at the theater fucking hate people like that.
Of course.
Because they got to clean up all that popcorn. We left the movie theater. Manny's like brushing the popcorn like under the seats so that it wouldn't be there. And I guess it's a secret that if you can't see the popcorn, you don't vacuum the popcorn.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. No, it was a one. I mean, we're all over the place, but there was a TikTok that I was following. This girl did things I find while ushering, and she would pull out like, oh, here's an unused thing. Like she would always find cash. Always find like $5-10, a wallet sometimes, but like she always returned that stuff. But it was like, here's a bottle of Jack and Coke, Jack Daniels.
Oh yeah, Manny's found. But there was when he first started working there, he was telling the story of finding like a broken bottle of booze that was all over the floor.
Yeah, good times. So anyway, we're gonna get into The Flash. My boy has seen some other movies. I've seen a bunch of TV. I went to a concert, a little Sworn Enemy, and some other bands. So we're just gonna get right into it, man. So
The Flash.
The Flash.
I'm gonna start off with I give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Me too. I think I put that on the TikTok that it was a good 4 out of 5. Yeah, my thoughts. It was tough because it was good. I mean, it was definitely good for me. It was a movie that was 10 years in the making at this point. There was so many different directors, so many. Then obviously our boy Ezra. He got into his stuff, and then the DC thing. So it's just everything's just been littered with stuff. So it was kind of like, I don't know. Personally, for me, I was going to see Batman Flashpoint.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
and some people are saying that the best part of the movie is Michael Keaton, which to a degree, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. But I thought there was a lot more going on if you're paying attention between Ezra and Ezra.
Yes, I like the whole concept of it. Obviously, I wanted to see Michael Keaton.
It's very interesting watching the present day Barry Allen, who had gone back in time, interacting with his younger self, who grew up with a mother and a father, and is basically a spoiled, rotten little prick.
Yep,
and really getting an amplified version of how fucking annoying he is. Absolutely. And I think he even addresses that at one point in the movie. He's just like, wow, I had no idea I was this annoying.
Yeah.
And it's good to see him mentor his younger self, but then his younger self. Now, when I had problems with the CGI.
Yeah, which most people did.
You said you don't care so much.
I'm not like, I mean, there are some CGI in some films, especially older ones, where it's glaringly obvious.
Right.
I think the problems that people have at this point is like, it's 2023, man. You should be able to figure this shit out. Like,
yes.
Like I always refer to CGI doesn't really bother me, except for there was one episode in The Walking Dead where there was a deer that came by, and it was the worst. Like, it looked like South Park, like somebody just put a fucking deer, and I was like,
it looked like
really,
something
guys?
out of that. It looked like something out of the game Buck Hunter.
Yeah, a double buck bonus.
Double buck bonus.
To quote my buddy Sean there, but stuff like that. But like, people like, the CGI. I'm like, I didn't really have a problem with it.
It's CGI that seems so. It's when it's done in a way that it seems like it's out of place in the scene. Like, you can completely tell. Like, my big CGI problem was not the multiverse CGI, because that was done in a style that it was done in purposely to enhance that whole, like, this is a multiverse kind of thing. It was the slow motion Quicksilver in the X-Men hospital scene with the babies in the microwave.
Yes. Well, they've done the Quicksilver thing better in Days of Future Past.
Right. They've done it so much better in so many other movies. Like, if they had done it that way, I'd have been fine. But the babies just seem so, that uncanny valley where you're like, I can totally tell that they're not even trying to fool me with them being real. I can totally 100% tell that they're CGI.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're gonna take freaking 10 babies. and
No,
throw
but
them
like
off
they,
the
like you
building.
said, they should be able to figure this shit out by now and have at least halfway decent CGI. That's not going to take me out of the scene because all I'm focusing on is how awkward that CGI is done.
Yeah.
I know I'm nitpicking a little detail.
No.
There's other things in the movie like, you can totally tell when they go, and this is heavy spoilers here, people. I don't even know if I need to press the spoiler button.
Just do it.
I don't know where the fucking spoiler button is.
Spoiler.
Don't drink the milk.
There you go. You don't get the extended version.
When we first break into Wayne Manor, and you've got like what I call the homeless Bruce Wayne, where he's got like the long hair and the beard. It felt in the movie when you're watching it that was supposed to be something that was a surprise that was Michael Keaton. I get that they couldn't. I mean, you and I talked about it earlier. You said that they had to tell you Michael Keaton because
of all the shit that was going on with the Flash and Ezra and all that stuff, like most people were not going to go see this movie. And obviously, if the box office is any indication, I mean, it didn't do well. It did not do well at all.
Still was number one for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it's like it only did like about 55.
Yeah, it
60.
didn't do as well as they wanted it to.
Yeah, which I mean, at the same point, there's a lot of problems going on with DC now.
I get that they had to blow the Michael Keaton, nut to get people in the seats, but it felt like that was supposed to be a surprise that was Michael Keaton, and it really showed.
Yeah.
It almost like they had a dramatic pause at the end of that little fight scene in the kitchen where you realize it's Michael Keaton. You're like, for the audience to react.
Yeah.
And it was like, there's this awkward silence here. I think something's supposed to happen here where everybody's like, oh shit.
Yeah. And it was tough because they did, we talked about this on other episodes of the pod where it's like, to get people into seats at this point, they have to drop these okay, so they did the I'm Batman thing in the trailer. Then
You want to get nuts?
that would have been great just to find out afterwards. But they put that in there, and it's just like, can you save a little something?
Yeah.
And that was the thing that knocked it down a little bit for me was that the fact that they could have went 100 different ways, and apparently they did. They filmed, that ending part of it where
With George Clooney. What you want.
with George Clooney, but they filmed it with Pattinson. They filmed it with Keaton.
When they watched it, what was it, like over a year ago at CinemaCon, that scene, the feet come out, step out, you saw the shoes, and then you see Barry go, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
And that's where it ended. You don't see who it was.
Yeah, that's what
So
I
nobody
heard.
knew who it was going to be at the end there. I don't know that we needed that. It just seems like a lot of things were shoehorned in there, like the Nicolas Cage fighting the giant spider. Unless you knew the Kevin Smith script story of Superman Lives.
Yeah, Superman Lives.
People were probably just going, I don't get what the fuck this is.
Yeah, and it was nice to see like the George Reeves Superman, and then the Christopher Reeve, and that girl who played Supergirl in the 90s.
That girl?
What's her name? Laura? I don't know.
Lauren Slater? Christian Slater's sister?
Was that her?
Helen Slater.
Helen Slater.
That's Christian Slater's sister.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. But like what we were saying, did I need a CGI of the two of them? No, there's enough footage from movies of them that you could have just put it in.
We said that, we were saying it before, they did it better in Superman 2 in the freaking 70s than they did in this movie.
Yeah, because they used footage of Marlon Brando from other stuff, but that they had filmed that they didn't use early in the Superman 1. They used that footage and that audio in the new one.
Yeah, and it was fun because
in Superman 2, sorry.
Yeah, you did get the Michael Keaton Batman. You did get the Batfleck, which was cool.
Right.
I always enjoyed Batfleck. Then they went back and they showed the Adam West one and all this stuff like that. Like, for me, I don't know. It was just something that at this point they were like, we got to get this thing out because it's been years in the making, millions of dollars. Like, the Ezra stuff isn't going away. Like, we just got to get it out. And it was, it was definitely enjoyable. Like, I enjoy, and one of these days we'll do a ranking of the DCEU movies where it's like, I enjoyed all those movies.
Right.
But there were certain caveats where it's like, I love Batman v Superman, but the director's cut. I like Man of Steel is so overrated.
God, movie is so
underrated. Justice League, I like the Zack Snyder Justice League as opposed to the fucking Justice
Because
League.
it explains a lot more.
Yeah, so
Rewatchable though.
Yeah.
The only one of the DC movies that I can think that I would rewatch, and I have rewatched, is the Wonder Woman movie,
yeah.
Pattinson's the Batman,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh no, well, Man of Steel.
Yes.
I mean, forget about the Christopher Reeve Supermans. I've watched those so many fucking times.
Oh, the Superman and Superman 2 are like my Dick
The
Donner ones are like my favorite.
Yeah, the Donner cut.
Yeah. Oh, the Donner cut definitely.
Yeah, that's the better one. But I mean, this movie doesn't lend me to like, oh, I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Will when it's on, when it comes to Max, and my wife hasn't seen it, when Kate hasn't seen it, and she's like, oh, we should watch it. I'll be like, all right, we'll watch it.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things. Like if it's on HBO, I'll watch it and just put it on. Like,
But I'm not going to go out of my way and make an event of it.
No.
And that was one of the other things you talked about, is like, you know, it's not really an event to go to the movies like it used to be, because it's like, well, you know, The Machine, I saw that, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And it's already out.
Yeah,
online.
I noticed that on my Fios where it was like The Machine and About My Father or whatever.
And I've
that
watched
movie is.
both of those.
Yeah, they're already on streaming, and I'm like,
About My Father was very good. I watched that.
Oh, yeah?
I wasn't going to talk about it, but it was very, very good and very funny. So,
yeah, comedies like that I'll catch on.
Oh,
demand,
yeah.
But you know, event ones like this. Now it's just, yeah, it's like the more I think about The Flash, it was definitely, I recommend, you know, if you want to see it. It's just DC is in such a weird spot right now, where
and
it's
this was
like,
supposed to restart. Didn't what's his name? Oh my God,
James Gunn.
James Gunn. Didn't he say that this is what was going to restart the new phase of DC? Like, this is going to be the beginning of it?
Yeah.
How?
No,
No.
exactly. Like that's the thing. Like you could have done a Flashpoint where, you know, and it's tough because this movie was filmed so many years ago and they didn't know what they were doing, and now James Gunn's coming out like 2015. Okay, 2015, 2025. New DCU starts with Superman Legacy. Actually, they said that Blue Beetle is going to be the first DCU character, which I love. But at the same time, if you would have maybe, and it's tough because you couldn't because with all this shit, it's like you could have made an ending of the Flashpoint where, you know, you could reset the whole DC universe. Like all of a sudden, boom, here's your new Superman. Okay, we'll keep Supergirl because I thought she was amazing in that Flash movie.
And that was another thing I was going to touch on, is like, look, they go into that sphere,
yeah,
and you think you're going to see a emaciated, skinny Henry Cavill,
yeah.
and you don't, and they give you her, and it's like, but she dies and she's done. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you introduce me this character? Now, hopefully they do something with her, but this Flashpoint thing proved that, like, well, no, because no matter what universe she's in, she dies.
She dies over and over and over.
No matter what you do.
And yeah, you could have done it where it was like, yeah, here's your new Superman. Oh, you know, Jason Momoa, that's Aquaman. Oh, now he's Lobo. Oh no, Aquaman, he changed it to this blonde hair freaking regular, you know.
Right.
The one we all know from the comics. You know, you switch all, here's your new DCU. And Barry just switched everything over. Now, boom, you go with that. But they couldn't do that.
No.
And at this point, even with the Shazam and Aquaman, does anybody give a flying fuck about Aquaman 2?
No.
No. Same with Shazam and even Flash. Like, you look at it and you go, what? You know, and they could say, oh, Elseworlds, all that shit. It's like, well, there's no stakes in this, so
No.
who fucking cares? They're not coming back. Obviously, you know.
And it's like that awkwardness of, and people will disagree, of bringing back Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, it's not Gamora. You're bringing back a character that everybody loves, but it's not, and they kind of address this in it, it's not the character that everybody loves.
Yeah.
It's a whole alternate universe one who doesn't have that same relationship, the same experiences with the team. It's like creating a clone of yourself. It's
Yeah.
just going to be a physical looking clone. It's not going to be the same person because it's not going to have all those experiences you had. And that's what you're getting with these multiverse things, is like, you're trying to get me to care about a character who's not the character that I've bonded with over the past 10 films.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it works. And this movie is going to be no different, but it gave them a chance to, like you said, reset the whole thing with all new characters, so we can start from the ground up. I love those characters that are over there that in all the movies I've seen.
Yep.
But now to create a new phase, we use Flashpoint to reset everything. Give us a new Flash. Give us a new Aquaman. Give us our new Batman. Give us everybody. Even if you want to tie Pattinson into it with the Batman, you can just say, hey, Flashpoint happens, and that's what created the Pattinson Batman that we now see as our new Batman in the new Justice League stuff.
Yeah.
And they just missed it. They could have done it, and they're missing it.
It's bad timing, you know. Like they already invested $200 million into this flick.
Yeah.
It's like we got to do something with it at this point, you know. And then a lot of people hyped it up, you know. Even James Gunn was like, "This is the best comic book movie of all time." Is it?
And they thought it was going to tie the old universe into the new one and make that transition, and it I don't think it does.
It didn't do a fucking thing.
It's probably better off as a standalone movie.
Yeah, and you know, I'm glad that I saw it.
Me too.
I wasn't like, this sucks. I thought it was, you know, I had a lot of fun with it.
Like
you
we
know?
always say, they got my money.
Yeah, but it would have been. It's a missed opportunity and it's bad timing.
Yes.
Because, you know, and that's the problem a lot of times with the media and stuff like that. You know, where the whole stuff that's going on with Star Wars, where it's like, we're
Oh
going
my
to do
God.
these 3 movies, and these people are attached to it. Now, all of a sudden, even with that, they're like, well, yeah, we're going to push it another 3 years. And you're like, why are you telling me about a fucking project that you're going to release in 3 years? I'm going to be 60 by the time this shit comes out.
Well, and I don't know, you know, not to get too far off topic, I don't know if there's a release date on Kraven the Hunter.
Oh,
But isn't that like 2025?
No, that's coming out like end of this year.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, don't give me. I hate when they're giving me trailers that are like teaser trailers for movies that are coming out like 2 years from now.
Yeah. I think they've calmed down a little
That's
bit.
like
with
that hot
but-
girl that you're in love with who's like, hey, if I'm not married by 30, you and me. And you're like, so I got to stay single till I'm 30 and hope that you do too?
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about. I mean, do you have anything as far as like with the Flash? I mean,
No,
Go see it.
That's my hot take on The Flash. Go see it. Don't expect too much. What is that? Keep your expectations low and you won't be disappointed.
exactly. Just like old Zendaya will tell you. But yeah, as far as movies go, like we can go into that Craven trailer.
Well, other movies I saw, what was it? On Father's Day, me and the whole family went to go see Elemental,
Ooh,
the Disney Pixar.
PIXAR.
And we talked about the fact that, like, again, they're not creating these movie events like it used to be, where you were like, oh my God, Toy Story 2 is coming out. The whole family's going to go. Because the whole family can't fucking afford.
Yeah, exactly.
The only reason my whole family could afford to go see the Elemental movie is because 2 of my kids work at the movie theater and use their free employee tickets to get the whole family tickets to the movie. Nice. It was a really good movie. Expect to cry a little bit. I cried a little bit. You know, and that's not
In a
like
Pixar movie? No.
and it's not like it's I don't know that it was so much of a I'm sad cry, but as like oh, that's so awesome, like sweet, happy. It was, you know what? It's Romeo and Juliet with elements.
Yeah.
That's if I had to simplify it as simple as possible, it's like a Romeo and Juliet. She's fire. The guy she falls in love with is water. They, you know, there's that. Her family came from the land of fire, and moved into the big city where everybody's like, "Oh, you're fire, get out of here! Oh, you're fire, get out of here!" You know. And her dad's like, "Water, no water. They're deaf to us." And she falls in love with this guy who's water, and you know, it's a really sweet, good movie.
Yeah.
Take your kids.
Hide your wife, hide your kids. Go see Elemental. No, yeah, we were talking about before we got a mic about Pixar stuff, and
Yeah.
what a shame it was. I mean, I'm at the age now where my kids are grown, so I mean they're teenagers. You know, so I'm almost like I'm exempt. It's like I did jury duty. I'm like I saw that shit. Like I don't have to do this anymore.
I
but they
still
are
go
good.
because I love animation. Where
Yeah.
you're not a fan of animation. No, nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I do like certain ones, and like I said, I've seen Despicable Me's and all the Pixar movies.
Fritz
and
the cat.
Fritz the cat. You know, Debbie Does Dishes. I've seen all of them,
Right.
and I really, really enjoy them. Like Disney movies, I've seen all the princess movies ad nauseum. Great, but now I'm at the age where it's just like my kids don't want to see it, so I'm not
surprised.
Gonna, you know, I don't know.
I'm surprised Violet doesn't want to see that. I feel like that's the kind of movie she'd want to see.
Yeah, but and it's also a shame is that with Pixar, the way we talked about it before we got on was how Disney and Pixar and stuff, like, it's not Pixar's fault. Don't get me wrong.
No,
They
it's a
still
Disney
make-
problem.
It's a Disney problem. It's where they kind of cheapen the animation. Where sure, COVID and stuff threw a lot of wrenches into stuff, but all the movies that they did, they put all this heart and soul and years into these movies, and
Exactly.
they go, we'll dump them on Disney Plus. It's like Turning Red and Soul. And,
Well, I don't think it's just that. I think it's also the same problem they're running into with the Marvel universe, where they get a lot of success and they go, well, we got to monopolize on that and let's just start pumping shit out as fast as we can.
Yeah.
And the quality suffers because of that.
Yeah.
The story suffers because of that. And Pixar started doing the same thing with let's just throw shit out there and try and get it done as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And the Pixar people, because Disney wants it, and the Pixar people can't take the time. And I feel like, though, with Elemental, they had the ability to take the time on this one because the animation was phenomenal. There was this mix of as close to things looking like the real world as they could get, very detailed done, and almost like I mentioned that the Fire Girl was like almost like a watercolor, but it was only because it gave that feel of like you've got that static background and then she's fire. Instead of standing there and talking and like a normal anime person, there was so much motion to her character because she's fire. And the same thing with the water guy. You see things moving around him. The way when he's standing there and the light shines through him and you play with the shadows off the ground, and the same thing with her and the light and the shadows off the ground. It really was like the amount of detail that was put into all the effects that go on around the main action really drew you in and was like, wow, this is like very well and thought out and done. I was just very impressed by how much detail they actually put into everything.
Yeah, and Pixar has always been the standard for quality.
Yes.
It's not like
They don't fuck around, those
No,
boys.
well, even the Illumination people, they're doing a really, really good job. The Despicable Me and Mario Brothers people, I always feel bad for these people because of corporations going, we got to pump this shit out. You're losing that quality because
Right.
they're overworked. Hey kids, if you ever want to freaking go to school for freaking animation or visual effects, because obviously it's a high in demand with all these companies, so they're just churning stuff out, and that's why you get bad CGI in fucking The Flash.
Yep.
The problem is that movie's been in development for so long. It's like you couldn't tweak that. It's been 3 years, 4 years.
Well, and that was also the problem that I had with the Wonder Woman movie was, that bad CGI in the... Was it the Wonder Woman movie with... Anyway, in all those... No, it was the original Justice League movie, the Joss Whedon one.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the bad CGI in that was like so horrifically bad that it looked like a PlayStation 3 cutscene. Not even PlayStation 4. Forget PlayStation 5. We're talking like a PlayStation 3 cutscene. That's what it looked like. But yes, Elemental, I wholeheartedly endorse Elemental. Go see it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, both movies are tanking at the box office, unfortunately, and it's it's unfortunate, but if you want to see more of these movies, go support them. And like I said, you don't have to go run and see About My Father in the theater. You can wait, but stuff like this, you wanna go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's as far as like the movies go.
No, well, and then the wife and I did the double feature.
Oh, that's right.
So we watched. We decided we had to rewatch the first one before we watched the sequel,
As you do.
and we watched Becky and Wrath of Becky.
Wrath of Becky.
Now, what's very misleading, we talked about it, the Wrath of Becky, on a previous episode because we saw the trailer for it and stuff, where Stifler, what is it? What the hell's his fucking name?
I don't know. Stifler. We'll just call him Stifler.
Where Stifler is the bad guy. They lead you to believe that it's like, oh, another fucking Nazi guy.
Yeah.
But it's not. Where Kevin James was a swastika tattooed head talking about mixing race and all that shit in the first one.
Yeah.
Nazi. This one was, they were just going off of the fucking Donald Trump Proud Boy shit. And it was, they really heavily leaned into that over the top ridiculousness. And what's funny is like there's a lot of scenes where you're like, wait, what the fuck? And it's literally her fantasizing about killing people.
Oh wow. Okay, so they do like the whole.
Yeah, they do the whole. She fantasizes about like she's in the diner and the guy's like, "Oh, I wanted butter on my toast," and she's like, "I wanted the butter on the toast," and she's like, "Well, you got butter in the dish," and he's like, "Yeah, but if you put it on in the kitchen, it's melted." And he's like, "So get me more," and she like breaks a plate and slits his throat.
Oh, jeez.
And he bleeds all over the place. And then it cuts to the fact that she was just daydreaming.
Just the whole like, oh, wow.
So there was
do that.
there was some good gore.
That's what you go there for.
But I think a lot of those good gore scenes were her fantasizing of doing things because you're like, there's one scene she runs a guy over the tractor and it's got the tiller on the back, and she's tilling him, and you're like, that guy she did not run him over. He could have gotten away. That tractor was moving so slow. But then you realize it was just her fantasizing. She goes, well, I wouldn't be able to do that. So unfortunately, the tractor didn't start. And she does something else.
So you get all the gratuitous gore and violence without actually the consequences.
No, you still get the some gratuitous gore and violence with the consequences.
Okay.
But it was very over the top, ridiculous, unbelievable. But that's what that movie is.
Yeah,
they leaned very hard into it, and they owned it.
Yeah, you're not watching Wrath of Becky for
the story.
Scorsese movie.
It's a 1 hour and 24-minute movie, and I'll tell you that 15 minutes of that is credits in the beginning and end.
Is it on any of the streaming, or is it just on demand?
I don't know where
I'll
it
have
is.
to check that out because I did enjoy the first one. The first one was ridiculous, and you're like, Kevin James is a Nazi, and it was funny. Manal looks at him and goes, looks pretty hot looking like that.
Well, and they do give you a little more information. If those of you have seen Becky, they give you a little more information about the key from the first one, which was the whole plot point of the first one was him trying to get that key.
Now, see, I totally forgot about the whole key thing.
And she's still got the key, and you find out that the key has a cover. It's at that end of the key is a cover that slides off, and there's coordinates inside.
Dun, dun, dun.
But they don't tell you what that is. But we're gonna get another Becky movie because at the end 16-year-old Becky gets recruited by the CIA. What the fuck?
Agent Becky.
Oh, yeah. That's, what? You got Becky, Wrath of Becky, and Secret Agent Becky.
I'm down with it.
I'm down with it. Keep making them.
Keep making these stupid Becky movies.
Well, it's like the...
John Wick's been running around just because somebody killed his dog for 4 movies.
Oh.
I mean, why not?
And hey, they in the Becky movie, they keep going after her dog, but that dog keeps coming.
That's right.
Because in the first Becky movie, what did they did something to the dog. One dog got killed, and then her dog, the other one, I can't remember what its name was.
I don't remember.
It was like Caesar or something like that. But that dog got knocked out or something like that, but lived. It was fine. In this one, this dog gets fucking clocked with a goddamn baseball bat, and you're like, they fucking killed the dog, and then the freaking Proud Boy guys had kidnapped the dog and kept it. So the dog was fine.
Good.
But I mean, it's what the fuck is that? Pearl and
X.
Mm-hmm. It's like those movies. You're building a universe of just ridiculousness.
Yeah, why not?
This one is like that suspense thriller gore. It's not really so much a horror movie.
Yeah.
Where the X and Pearl were like kind of like those horror movies.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing here, and I'll take more of it every day. It's a nice little I go into it knowing this is going to be ridiculous.
Of course. And that's the way you should be. You can't go into a movie like Wrath of Becky and be like expecting Shakespeare.
Well, yeah.
It's
The problem comes is when people take things like Cocaine Bear, which was a fun movie.
Yeah.
Fun movie of stupidity, and go, well, let's make, like we talked about last, Crackoon,
baby.
a raccoon on crack. It's like, now you've gone too far because it's so low budget bad.
It's all the sci-fi stuff where it's like, Shark the Puss against freaking Megalopolis. And, who cares?
So the only other thing I did watch that I'm not going to go too deep into, it wasn't the tearjerker I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Was the Stan Lee movie.
I was going to watch that, and then I read something from the Kirby estate.
Right.
Basically saying, like, why are they still jerking off this Stan Lee guy when,
it was
Ditko and Kirby were, like, the main people. He was, like, the figurehead.
It was literally just the story of Stan Lee. That's all it was. It wasn't anything more than that. It wasn't anything deeper.
I just love that man. I love that man so much. But, like, at the same time, like, I read that thing about from Jack Kirby's estate, and I'm like, yeah, they're kind of right. Like, nobody's talking about, those guys formed Marvel, and they came up with these great ideas, but, like, Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby were like the guys.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They were. Stan Lee was the guy out freaking pimping it out, going, "Hey, Excelsior, look at this," and you're like,
because Stan Lee didn't draw anything.
No,
he just wrote the stories.
Yeah, he came up with this. I mean, look,
he came up with some of the ideas and some of the stories, and they do get into where he came up with some of the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But you realize he just wrote stories, and they animated it.
Yeah.
And he said Jack Kirby was like amazing. I could go, how about a guy who's like big, but he's like Jekyll and Hyde, and he's like a big green guy, and he's like, hold on, he drew the fucking Hulk and was like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Kirby was great at, like, you have an idea, visualizing and creating that thing that with the minimal amount of detail, being able to draw exactly what you were thinking about with minimal description.
I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, you talk about stuff like, Ozzy Osbourne, right? Legend. Ozzy. He would just, he doesn't really play an instrument. He would get all these amazing musicians, go, I don't know how to write a song. He goes, and then Zach Wild's like, okay, or like Randy Rhoads. They make this amazing music, and he's like, oh, that's what I wanted to do. So he comes, he's what's that saying that in Van Halen, they used to say it all the time, with David Lee Roth used to say, the Van Halen brothers did all the art. The Jew sells it. Like, because he was the Jewish guy.
Right.
He's like, the Jew sells it. Okay.
Kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
Gene Simmons and Kiss.
Yeah.
But yeah, in a couple weeks, I started watching it. I haven't finished, but we'll talk about it probably on one of the next episodes. I started watching the Michael J. Fox documentary. So I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Kat and I are watching it together, and the two of us were watching it and like starting to nod off. And I'm like, pause, and she goes, "Why are you pausing?" I was like, "We're both falling asleep here. Like, we're not gonna finish this."
Oh, good old Alex B. Keaton. That was the one thing, and we forgot to mention in the Flash one, where you knew that the universe was different because they kept saying that Eric Stoltz was in the Back to the Future, and they're like, Eric Stoltz, who's this Michael J. Fox?
And it's funny. I didn't want to get into it, but I didn't realize, like, Michael J. Fox was filming a very low budget, stupid werewolf movie. And literally right down the street, Steven Spielberg is filming this super high budget movie. And it turned out like they wanted him for Back to the Future, but he had his contract with Family Ties. And they were like, yeah, we're not letting you do it. And then they were finally like, okay, but you can't miss 1 hour of filming on Family Ties for this fucking movie. And he was like, I would get up, a guy would pick me up at 6 a.m, drive me over to the studio. I'd spend all day doing Family Ties. Another guy would come and pick me up. I'd fall asleep in the back of the car while he's driving me to wherever we were fucking filming Back to the Future. I would start doing the Back to the Future stuff. We'd leave there at like in the middle of the night. He'd drive me home. I'd fall asleep in the car. He'd carry me into my freaking apartment, put me in bed. I'd wake up, like get like 2 hours of sleep, wake up and have to go back to Family Ties, and just every day back and forth for months. He said, he goes, it was grueling and exhausting, but that's what created his career.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm only halfway through it, so it's really good if you want to watch it. So when we talk about it, you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's on Apple TV though, so how are you gonna watch it?
I'm gonna break down and get it. I have to at this point. So many things on the Apple.
TV shows wise, what you got? Because I know you watched something I have yet to watch because I just can't bring myself to do it.
Well, two shows that I watched. I did watch the first episode of Secret Invasion.
As did I.
Yeah. I like it. I'm interested to see where it goes.
By the way, because if you can't take spoilers, the show fucking dropped like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
At this point, for some of you, it's almost a week that show dropped by the time you're listening to this. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on.
Well,
no, it was good. It's in the vein of Marvel, which I'm a big fan of, which is the Captain America, Falcon Winter Soldier,
conspiracy
espionage kind of stuff. Not necessarily
Insurgents.
guys. Yeah, not necessarily guys running around in tights punching each other in the face. This is more of like, spy thriller kind of stuff.
Sure.
So,
which I will say, one of the nice things I do enjoy is when they move away from these like super powered people to like that's the appeal of Batman. He's just a regular fucking dude who's got a lot of money to buy shit.
Yep.
They're dealing with Nick Fury, who's just a regular fucking dude. He's got no superpowers.
He's boots on the ground,
Yep.
And I mean, I always like Nick Fury's character. I think he's a little over the top sometimes,
sure.
But we all remember the freaking what's his name, David Hasselhoff, Nick Fury. He was Nick Fury first.
Was
David
he?
Hasselhoff, yeah, and like some shitty TV. We'll look it up. But I mean, I like the story of it. I forgot, and my boy had to remind me as far as like the Captain Marvel of it all.
It's been 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years since and
the events of Captain Marvel.
Yeah, so, the Skrulls, they were promised a home. They've been flying around with Nick Fury, with Saber.
Right.
They don't have a home, so they're pretty much pissed off, the ones on Earth, and going, fuck this, we're going to take Earth.
Yep.
Now, the Skrull thing is interesting. It's a lot of but then it's just you don't know who's a Skrull, who's not a Skrull, which some people have the appeal of that. To me, it's kind of annoying.
Well, that was like new rock stars always used to play off of. My theory is he's a Skrull. Everything was like that person's a Skrull.
Mephisto.
But you know what? I just hope they don't use this Skrull shit and the shape shifting and overuse it like they overuse time travel. Yeah. Oh, that problem's all fucked up. Let's use time travel just to fix it.
And now everything's multiverse. It's like
so I mentioned that big spoiler here that at the end of that episode, Maria Hill gets killed. The one bad guy Skrull, transforms into Nick Fury. She's like, Nick, and he's like, boom, and shoots her. Yeah. She drops dead. She's on the ground. The real Nick Fury comes over and goes, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
I said I feel like that's a big MacGuffin. That they kidnapped Maria Hill, faked her death with another Skrull, so that they can use their machine they have back at their base where they read people's minds and transfer a person's mind into a Skrull so they know everything they know to get all the S.H.I.E.L.D. Secrets that they can to help them take the Earth.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's what's going to happen, I don't know. But a character like her killing her off, I'm like, why would they kill her off?
Because
or maybe she wants out of the show.
Yeah, because comics.
Because
nobody dies in comics. No. Come on. I'm back.
Or maybe she's not dead. Maybe she's pulling a Nick Fury and where she's going to be in some secret underground base.
You never know. She might just
or
pop
maybe
up.
She was helping the Skrulls all along.
Maybe she's Mephisto.
Wait, she's Mephisto? I know it's Batman, but Jesus Christ.
That's close enough. No, but I am excited to see where it goes.
Me too.
I like those characters. Hopefully the Skrull thing doesn't get too freaking...
Do you think the tone of this is more like the earlier Marvel series than it was the later ones like Miss Marvel and all those where it just feels like it was kind of like scotch taped together to give us some content?
No, I mean, I think they did a good job with this so far.
One episode so far.
Yeah, it really is one episode, so it's tough to say. It got me enough to the point where I was like, ooh, this is good. I'll watch this.
Yeah.
This looks cool.
Well, I'm going to watch it no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it's Marvel. So
this one, there's some of the Marvel things you haven't watched, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, which is heartbreaking because she was the one I would always be like, oh, did you see what happened last night? That was one of the things I loved about Yellow Jackets was talking with her about what happened on each episode.
The Last of Us, too.
Yeah,
and The Last of Us.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, we'll hang in there and see what it goes. But, it's a good step in the right direction for Marvel. And it's going to tie into the Marvels. Yep. So that'll work great. Yeah.
You watched.
I also watched, because I have the AMC Play. I have watched 2 episodes of The Walking Dead, Dead City.
Negan.
He's very Negan in this.
My thought was the premise of this was just too ridiculous. Maggie's kid gets kidnapped and
Herschel.
into the city, and the guy who's in charge has a relationship with Negan, so she needs Negan to help her get in there.
See, here's the deal. That's the whole premise, pretty much, right? Herschel gets kidnapped.
Right.
They have to go. The reason she recruits Negan, even though she hates his guts, and trust me, they'll tell you the whole 2 episodes how much she hates him, but yet she needs him. The guy that took and is in New York City is this guy named the Croat, who is a former savior.
Okay.
That he was. They talk about it in this latest episode where it was like, and the reason Maggie knows this is because it's like he's a savior, he knows you. And plus, there's some marshals that are out to get Negan for doing shit. So
of course, there's always somebody out to get Negan.
Him chasing the Croat to get that, and then the marshal is chasing Negan to kill him because of crimes, I guess.
Because of comics.
Yeah, because comics. Yeah, so
people forget that The Walking Dead was a comic book.
Absolutely, yeah. Kirkman, he's rolling in the dough.
So Negan's helping because
he knows the Croat. And apparently what had happened was the Croat came to the Saviors. He was a crazy piece of shit. But Negan decided to take him into the Saviors to kind of help him, and he was kind of like the torture guy for Negan. Like, for the shit that he couldn't handle, he would get the Croat to do it. And then apparently he did one of Negan's big no-nos. Which is, raping a child.
Oh, he did the rapity rape.
So Negan excommunicated him, basically shot his ear off, and he ran off, and now he has a grudge against Negan.
Because he was a kid toucher.
He was a dirty kid toucher. Or it was rape or something like that. He did the, Negan did the, it was unspeakable. Yeah.
Speaking of kid touchers.
Tell me where in the world is Ezra Miller? Pineapple.
That's
Pulled
right.
his pecker out. No, but so far, it's better than Fear.
Okay.
I'll give it that. It did have some decent numbers for the premiere. I'm going to stick with it. The only thing that drives me nuts is, okay, so talk about CGI and stuff. They're filming this in New York City, apparently, right?
Right.
CGI's not bad. Now, you might look at it and go, this is dog shit.
Right.
And there's some characters in it that, they run across these kooky people, as you do in New York City, when there's not an apocalypse. This one is even... But what's cool is that what I think is cool is that, there's zombies everywhere, right? Because it's New York City. It's millions of people there,
Sure.
right? So they're all moving around. The way they get, so they're always encountering zombies or walkers or whatever the fuck you want to call them. So to get around, a lot of these buildings have zip lines.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they'll go to this place and, like, they follow, like, somebody steals Maggie's bag and they're chasing after her and she goes off on a zip line. And then they have to do the zip line. And then there's one scene where the guy's trying to get away from the Croat. And the Croat cuts the zip line, so he falls. It's all about zip lines there. I don't know why. But it's interesting. The only thing that drives me nuts is the whole, like, she's constantly on Negan's dick about, like, you
Zoinks?
not in that fashion.
Not literally. Oh, okay.
And it's always just like, you killed my husband, and like Negan's like, would you fucking let it go already? It's been like, how many times do I have to prove myself? But there's essences of Negan that when he, he's a changed man apparently, right?
Sure.
But there's one where these people come in and attack them, and he gets the upper hand on one of the guards, and he basically goes into like Negan mode, where like he's smashing his head through this window and he's going, and they're down in the, like he's on top of this, like, I guess another floor, and they're on the bottom floor like this, the people that are coming after him, and he takes the guy and he's smashing his head through the windows and he's going, knock knock, knock knock, he's sticking in his head. It's just like, so he says like, knock knock, who's there? Butter who? Butter, get your raincoats because it's going to start raining. And it just slits his throat, cuts his guts open, and throws him over. And you're like, all right, that's Negan.
All right, maybe I'll watch it.
It's
It's not as bad as Fear the Walking Dead.
Nothing is as bad as Fear.
Okay.
Fear is a fucking pile of dog shit. And it still is. That ended, so now I'm on Dead City. And then, of course,
Dead City.
Daryl Dixon's coming up, where it's like, okay, he's in Paris. How the fuck did he get there?
Oh, my God, I know.
They showed the teaser of him, like, on a freaking raft. Like, come on. You going to tell me he got to Paris on a raft? Let's stop it now. So we'll see. But I'll keep you guys posted.
Yes, do keep me posted.
On the Dead City. Have you watched any other TV?
No, I have not.
All
Well,
right.
I have, but nothing new. It's just the same old. It feels like TV's really slow lately.
Well, it's the summer.
Yeah.
It's,
So
mid seasons.
that's all I got.
Yeah. So I guess we can go. Like, we won't really talk about new releases music wise. But I will give a concert review if you want
All
to hit
right.
the music thing, or we can not there.
The musician from the big rock band. Now he just looks like a big fat hand. It's time for Greg's Music News.
All right, give us your concert review.
Memories.
We'll finish
indeed.
up with Greg's concert review.
That's right. So this weekend that just passed, my lovely other half and I went to go see the reunited Biohazard
Damn.
in the city at Irving Plaza. It was Biohazard. It was these guys, Sworn Enemy, Sub-Zero, Incendiary Device, Sheer Terror, and it was so much fun. Like, now, the thing is, like, I have history with Sub-Zero. I know those guys.
Right.
We grew up together. Biohazard, I know Bobby Hamble very well.
Right.
We grew up together. Didn't get backstage, though. I'm driving over there, and I'm going looking at him now, and I go, these people that I know that are playing this, you think I would have fucking hit one of them up for backstage? You know? Like, but I wanted to be in the crowd. I wanted to experience it, you know. And it's so funny at this age where, before I go, I'm like, oh, it's general admission. Shit, I better take a preemptive Advil because I'm going in.
Yeah.
Sold out show. The amazing thing, and it reminded me very much of when I saw Sworn Enemy at the Bowery down in the city, the Bowery Electric. You go there, and we all forget with these bands that they're all our age, right?
Right.
I mean, sure, there's a few.
They're all old men.
There are a few whippersnappers in there, but the majority of the crowd is going to be middle-aged men and women, right? Or, for the most part. So you went in, it was sold out. Now I'm thinking Biohazard, fucking 1992. Like, oh, God, it's going to be fucking madness. Each band that was playing was freaking phenomenal. They were Sub-Zero, always great live show. Lou climbed up on the balcony of Irving Plaza and stage dove. And we're like, what the? Like, the man is insane. But I love the kid. I love him very much. They were great. We only caught like maybe one song, two songs because we were stuck in traffic. It was an early show. It started at 4.
Well, because they're old.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Gotta get the blue plate special.
They called it a Sunday matinee, because, it was old. But we got in there and, Incendiary Device, I'd seen them with Sworn Enemy before. It was a hardcore show. It was definitely all hardcore, right? And, I'm thinking, I'm not even going to get close. The pit's going to be too insane, blah, 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 blah. We stood close as could be. The pit was there, but, like, the funniest thing is that you'd get bumped, and instead of, there were and even Biohazard said it that night, Friday night and Sunday night, 0 fights.
Yep.
People would bump into you, and you're like, and they were like, oh, sorry, dude. Oh, I'm sorry, Or if you got a cut in front of somebody, they're like patting you on the back, like, it's all right, brother. Go ahead. Go up front. Nobody's like, fuck you. There were a few knuckleheads there, right?
There always is.
There's people in the pit that were swinging fists, but for the most part, like, Manal and I were on the side where Bobby was, kind of like right near the backstage.
Right.
So, like, people were coming in and out. That's how I saw Richie and the guys when they got off stage. I was like, hey, the crowd was sold out, but it wasn't insane. Like, it was contained.
Right.
And everybody had a good time. The bands, all of them sounded phenomenal. There wasn't one band that I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, Sworn Enemy, these guys, I've seen them twice. Great band from Queens. Bought the shirt. Singer was at the merch booth, chatting with him, talking him up. Met with the guys with Sub-Zero outside, smoking butts. We're having a good time, reminiscing. Didn't get to see Bobby, unfortunately. But, Sheer Terror played. They're an old school freaking band. Like, everybody just freaking came out and had a party, and it was so much fun. Like, I left that show, aside from knowing people in these bands, I was just like, that was a fun, old school, matinee, hardcore show, and I'm 50 fucking 2. Like, it was just so much fun, and everybody was contained. There was no fights. It was
Happy
no crazy.
Father's Day.
And it was on Father's Day. So it was like, all right, like, we got home at like 11.
Whoa.
Like, that was fun. That was so I highly recommend if you get a chance to see. And I'm biased with Biohazard, but because I've known them since, they started, been following them since. But, like, they just had song after song after song, and the band said they all look healthy. Bobby's been sober and he's looking great, and the bass. I always tease Evan. I used to call him the meatball.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, get the fuck out of the car and leave it at the crosswalk. But if you don't have, they have screaming freaking Billy,
Right.
and then you have rapper kind of hardcore streets with Evan. I used to call him meatball, which I would never do to his face. He'd probably kill me. If you don't have, like, I remember Evan left, and I used to be like, oh, well, freaking he left or whatever. He, I was never a fan of whatever. But he was like thin, like jacked, amazing. They're all like in their almost 60s at this point, late
Jesus.
50s, early. They all look healthy as shit. They sounded great, and if you don't have Evan with Billy, it does not work.
Right.
Billy's tried to do a bunch of stuff by himself, Billy Bio, and all that other stuff, and you're like, it's good. And he even did stuff with Sendog, with Power Flow, like with a rapper guy, and you're like, okay, that's kind of Biohazard-y. But if you don't have the elements of those 4 guys, they're a perfect example, band-wise, of if one part's missing,
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work. You need screaming Billy, you need rapping freaking Evan with his, life gets smothered, and people go nuts. You got Bobby, who actually does guitar solos in hardcore songs. Go figure.
Never
And,
heard
the drummer, Danny, is freaking insane. So I've heard Biohazard records without Evan and Billy. And
It's not the same.
It's not the same. So you get a chance to go see Biohazard. I think they're touring. They're touring in Europe now, but I'm sure they'll be back on some runs. They're talking about doing a documentary. They're talking about doing a new album. So you get a chance to see it. Like, go to one of those shows. And it's actually the Bowery show was that inspired me to do Sack of Sin.
Right.
Because I was like, here's a bunch of bands. They're all supporting each other. They're all hanging out. They're all doing this. It's like that. The Biohazard show was like an enhanced, huge version of that.
Right.
Where I was like, shit, you can do this in Irving and sell out 2 nights at Irving Plaza. Obviously Biohazard is a big name, but
Yeah,
like,
that's a big draw, but
yeah, but like still, I mean, the last time I saw Biohazard, my band opened up for them at Tuxedo Junction. So now they're playing Irving Plaza, 2 sold out nights. Nostalgia, and they sound amazing. So get a chance to go check these bands out. Support these freaking hardcore bands if you're into that shit.
yes,
'Cause-
support local artists.
Yeah, Inhuman, Sworn Enemy. I mean, these guys are all on smaller labels. These guys are on the same label as Sub-Zero. But support these bands. Does Taylor Swift really need another $1,000 ticket sold? No. Buy a $50 Sworn Enemy tank top.
Well,
You
that's
won't
why I
regret
told
it.
you I'm upset about the fucking the Violent Femmes show, because tickets were like $60 for orchestra tickets.
Yeah.
And it sold out, and now they're all like $200 for fan resale fucking tickets. Like, that's not
Yeah.
fucking fans reselling. That's someone who bought tickets and is trying to make a profit.
Yeah.
And you'll see half those tickets won't even sell too.
Yeah, and those whole Ticketmaster things, it's just like, look, you can go pay $200 for this.
When I point to you, you hit those 2 buttons again.
Yeah, and or you could do that, or you could just freaking, go to a freaking hardcore show. Go see Circle Jerks tickets are freaking $30.
Yeah.
50, for Pitt. You're like, dude. So, yeah, man, that was my
All
big
right.
review of that, and go check out those bands. I'm gonna put a couple of them on the playlist, just to kind of clean house. We got SOSS2 coming to you August
August 12th.
August 12th. Yep. It's a free show, so go out and support the bands.
What?
What? Support the music.
My bad. I was trying to go to the next screen on the stream deck, and I hit the next, and it's the. Come on, it's no.
Da, 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 da. So yeah,
So SOSS 2.
Yeah, we're setting out the promotions for that. The invites on there. We got Cardboard Dreamhouse, we got Cosmic Error, we got Blue Alien Mystic, we got the Critically Ashamed, we got 49 Feet High. It's tons of bands, all free, outdoors. Bring your own beer, freaking bring your own farm animal, whatever you want to do.
Bring your own broad.
Yeah, bring your own broads. Bring it. We're gonna have food and
your own
entertainment and all that stuff. So it's gonna be a blast. So definitely check that out. Go to sackasin.com. Buy a fucking shirt. I want to get like a tank top of this with yikes on it.
Yeah.
I want a basketball jersey with yikes on it.
I want a hockey jersey.
Yeah. We'll.
They're
figure
so
that out.
fucking expensive.
They really are. We ain't got no Kevin Smith money, but
Yeah.
we got Tyrone Biggins money.
Sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think we did it, pal. I think
Yeah.
we're good. So
Oops, I did it again. And ladies and gentlemen,
my balls.
stay out the fucking submarines.